Hello, friends. Henry Flowers here. Powerful Living Outreach Ministries coming at you again over the YouTube airwaves. Thank you so much for subscribing to this channel. Bring on the likes and the comments, and especially you want to share. If you think this is a powerful ministry, has blessed you any at all, how about share it for us? Our subscribers have been growing by leaps and bounds since I've been doing the social media since March, just posting the shorts a couple of times a day, and the Lord is blessing. I think we have gotten, let's see, we were at 180 subscribers before I started doing the marketing blast, and now we're at about 370. So that's about a growth of about 200. That's pretty good. I mean, listen, when it comes to the cyber sanctuary, man, we at way past the membership of the average church. Yeah, the average church in America is 75 people, according to the United States Census. You thought it was higher, didn't you? I know you see the big old churches, Osteen, the mega churches, Jake's, and all those places, right? Nope. Those are aberrations. The average size church in America, according to the United States Census, is 75 people. Members, that's members, 75 members. Not, if you didn't know before, let me just let you know now. Membership has no reflection on who shows up on Sunday or whenever you open the doors. Yeah, there's often a much lower number than what's on your membership. So thank you all for sharing, because I think this is important to learn the gospel, but also to learn how to live the gospel. That is the focus of this ministry. Powerful Living is not just a cool name. It's a cool game. And I'm going to share some testimonies at the end of this broadcast here that'll show you how cool the game is when you begin to live the gospel, especially when it comes to people and doing what it takes to transform the lives of people like we've been seeing here from Jesus. Yeah, Powerful Living. So thank you for subscribing. You can find us wherever you find podcasts, just the audio. If you want to go to Apple, iTunes, podcasts, iHeartRadio, all of those places. Spotify, you can find us. Just look up Powerful Living and put in my name, Henry Flowers. If you'd like to contact us with show ideas, questions, comments, something you want to cover, something I said that you got a problem with or want to discuss with me, you can hit us up. Probably just send us a text message or something. Probably be the easiest way. The number is 513-404-7793. And we will respond. We will do that. You can email us if you're still doing that. Is anybody still sending emails nowadays? I guess some people are still sending emails. Email is powerfulliving2022@gmail.com. And you can also go to our website for all of the shows that we've uploaded, all of the sermons in the past, powerfulliving.org. Yes, I'm going to get this thing right one day. Let's go. Powerfulliving.org is where you can go to the website. And that is that. I think I handled all of the red tape and opening information here. We're diving right into the book of Matthew. We'll be in Matthew chapter 9 again, still doing the expository journey through the book of Matthew, checking out the life of Jesus, because he is the model. He is the prototype. He is what we should be modeling our lives after. So here we are in Matthew chapter 9, and I think we are going to start today at verse 18 is where I left off. Jumping right in. Matthew chapter 9, verse 18. As Jesus was speaking, the leader of a synagogue came and knelt before him. The leader of a synagogue, leader of a college, a faith-based college, a church where they do a lot of teaching, however you want to picture it. This is his leader came and knelt before him, showing reverence, respect. This is the part that I love about Jesus, is that during this time, his renown grew so much. And there were people coming to give him shout outs, give him respect and this kind of thing. And it was on some real deal stuff as far as how his renown grew. Like his renown grew because he was doing things to transform people's lives for the better. You know, when you see nowadays people's platforms growing, sometimes people's platforms grow as ours have been growing just because, just on a regular basis, I've been getting the shorts out and doing little short snippets of a sermon, 60-second clips, getting those out. And people are saying, hey, when people subscribe to your channel, they're saying, hey, I like what you're doing. Like for real, for real. You go online or whatever platform you use for socials, you don't just subscribe to any and everything you see. Why? Because when you subscribe to something, the algorithm is gonna send you more of that. And if you're like me, you don't want a whole bunch of any and everything popping up on your phone because you just got a limited amount of time. You want to receive the things that you enjoy, and the more you watch what you watch, the more the algorithm sends to you things like that. But some people, you can purchase subscribers. You know that, right? Did you know that? You didn't know you could purchase subscribers? You can purchase followers, subscribers. You sure can. If you got the money, they got the honey. Some people just want to look big. Some people just want to look more popular, right? They want to have more views. You can put bots in there to make comments. Like you can do a lot of stuff to get a bigger reputation, a bigger following, and those kinds of things if that's what you after. But just understand, followers is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that you are a follower of Jesus and that your work and your reputation in the lives of other people precedes you. That's what I hope is happening when people subscribe to this channel. They're saying, hey, I'm getting something good out of this. I'm seeing people's lives be blessed and I'm seeing my life be blessed. So I'm hoping to grow in that way. That's good renown. And so here's Jesus. His renown is growing, man. People are coming from all over the place. This man's a teacher in the synagogue. He has status already. They know about him. And here he comes in verse 18. He says, my daughter has just died, but you can bring her back to life again if you just lay your hand on her. Now, how do you think he coming up to Jesus and making these bold statements? How do you think that's happening? Well, we know why that's happening, right? See, he's declaring what Jesus can do based on what he has seen and or heard that Jesus did for somebody else. Would to God that my renown would grow, or to the point where, I got a phone call that says, hey, man, I talked to so-and-so. He said you've been mentoring him for a little while and you really are a tremendous help to him. I want to know if you could help me, or I want to know if you could help my son or my daughter. That will be a blessing. That means that the things that you've done in somebody else's life, word is getting out. People are telling other people about it. And they're saying, hey, if y'all want this, you better go here. So somebody told him, hey, this dude brings people back to life, man. Or either he saw it for himself. This dude brings people back to life. Like just by laying hands on them. Because he's telling Jesus what he needs to do in order to bring his daughter. That's faith. And here in these next couple of verses, you'll begin to see that Jesus, and it's different. There are some people where Jesus just laid hands on them and they recovered. And then there are other times where Jesus asked, what do you want done? And many theologians believe that these are places where Jesus' power to heal people was one element. But in some situations, another element that was required was their faith. about what he could do. And these are some powerful things and things we can study, and just some of the things are just there for you to take a look at and just grab a hold of it and just say, well, there it is. I can't really explain. Why did he ask one person? Why did he not ask another person? You got some theories, you can read a lot of the commentaries to get some ideas behind these things. But this is Jesus. And sometimes he required folks' faith to go up and go to work. But here's this guy, this dude already stepping up with faith. He said, listen, I already know who you are. Remember the centurion not long ago? He said, hey, listen, you're a man who has authority just like I do. My daughter needs to be healed. All you got to do is speak the word. He says, because I'm a man who's in authority. And when I give a command, they do it. And he says, you're that same way. Faith, man. And this dude's showing up. He says, my daughter's just died, but you can bring her back again if you just come and lay your hand on her. Man. So Jesus and his disciples got up and went with him. Man, I love how your faith can just activate the supernatural. When you are putting up a godly request, God is going to meet that need. That's why Jesus taught you how to pray, taught you things to pray and what to pray for and what not to pray and how not to pray. Because he knows that there are conditions on God showing up in your life. Good. Man, listen, it's a good thing we don't get everything we prayed for. Oh, yes, it is. It's a good thing we don't get everything we prayed for. Mm-hmm. Who's that TV show personality that you prayed would be your wife? Or your husband? Woo, you saw that look in your eye. Woo, you had some plans. If I ever meet that person, I want to be. Few weeks later, that person you just mentioned caught with child pornography. Whoops. Sorry. Man, we just don't know like God knows. That's why we need to pray the way he tells us to pray. And so Jesus and his disciples got up and went with him. Just then, when he was on his way, a woman who had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding came up behind him. She touched the fringe of his robe, for she thought in her mind, if I can just touch his robe, I will be healed. Now he's going on to heal somebody else, and this woman's walking up behind him, and she ain't saying nothing. She's just walking up and grabbing the hem of his garment, as it's written in other translations. And what this is an old tradition that said that the priest, he had these tassels on the end of his clothing, and sometimes around the hem of the clothing, and those little tassels. And back in the day, the tradition was, and the history was, the priests were so endowed with God's power that you could just grab a hold of the hems of their garment, and there was healing there. And so this woman obviously knows the history, Jewish history, and the promises from Abraham and the priestly descendants and all those kinds of things. And so she's saying, this dude is the high priest. She's activating her faith without even asking anybody. And so she walks up to Jesus and touches the hem of his garment, and watch what happens next. Verse 22. Jesus turned around, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be encouraged. Your faith has made you well. And the woman was healed at that moment. Did y'all see that? I hope you saw that. Her faith made her well from something that she had been struggling for how long did it say? Listen, sometimes you go through a thing and it does not end or go away immediately. He said she'd suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. In another translation, or I'm sorry, another account of it, I think it's in Mark, he says she spent all her living. She spent all her money. She done tapped out her 401k. She done tapped out her HSA. And she done tapped out all the people that she can borrow from and say, hey, can I get a couple of dollars? She done tapped out everything. Spent all her money. But then she heard about what Jesus had done for others. And she believed him. This is the activation of someone's faith, where somebody says, hey, listen, I done heard about what's going on. I am going. Would to God that I would have the kind of impact in people's lives that when I walk up to someone, like Jesus walked up to someone and said, hey, follow me and be my disciple. And the dude just dropped everything, started following him. Man, would to God that I'd have so much going on in my life for God, so much supernatural work showing up in my life where people come to me when they've exhausted all of their other resources. They come to me, or they come to the church or our ministry, and they say, hey, I've heard that this is where I can be healed. I've tried everything else I could before. But because of the reputation proceeding from this ministry and from this space, I'm here to get my healing. Jesus says, your faith has made you whole. He didn't lay hands on her. We just showed you him laying hands on other people, where he's actually getting ready to go lay hands on somebody and raise a daughter from the dead. And this is not laying on of hands. See, it was her knowledge of history and her studying and her belief that this dude is one of them. He's like them. Yeah. He says, your faith has made you well. Sometimes the thing that you're going through, y'all, you just got to activate your faith. And no matter how long you go through it, sometimes you just got to keep on moving forward. And I know it's hard. It's hard sometimes. Sometimes you want to give up and you want to quit and you want to go do something else. But I would say to you, go and give up and do what? Give up to what? If you're a follower of Jesus Christ, as this lady was at least knowledgeable in the history of the priestly authority, she knew at least that much. Like, if you believe in this thing that we preach, this gospel, the greatest story ever told, like, what is there to give up to? How much suffering will you go through before you quit, before you give up? This is the idea about being fully persuaded, that no matter how much trouble you go through, no matter how long you go through it, there's just a part of you that says, nah, I ain't going nowhere. This is what I believe in. And if the trials come and stay, then my faith will not waver, because my faith is planted and built upon a rock. And so here she is. She's saying, doesn't matter what I've been through for 12 years. I heard about this man, and I believe his word is true. I believe in who he is. Would be to God that I'd be able to endure temptation that way, be able to endure trials and hard times that way. Would be to God that I wouldn't faint when things get hard and when things stay hard. Man, you'll find out who your real friends are during hard times. And especially if hard times endure. Oh, you will really find out who your family is and how much they love you when hard times not just come, but when hard times stay. 12 years? Think about the thing that you're struggling with right now. How long have you been struggling with that thing? 12 days. Some of us have a hard time enduring unloving people for 12 minutes, bro. Sometimes we'll go off on people just 12 seconds of saying the wrong thing. 12 seconds of doing something to me that I didn't like. Man, it might be hell to pay for some of them. But would to God that we as believers would be able to say, when trials come, I'm going to love him. When trials stay and endure, I'm going to love him with the rest of my life. So here she is. Today is her day. He said, your faith has made you well. And the woman was healed at that moment. Verse 23. And when Jesus arrived at the official's home, he saw the noisy crowd and heard the funeral music. Jesus arrived at the official's home. He saw the noisy crowd and heard the funeral music. Get out! Jesus just busts up into place. He just busts up into place and just show up and just start flexing authority on people. Hey, get out. Can you imagine rolling up to somebody else's house and telling everybody get out? Get stepping. That's somebody who is authority. Remember a couple of verses back where they said, man, this dude is different. Something about his teaching. He's teaching as if he is the authority. Remember all that stuff he was saying? But I say. Talking about the scriptures. Like, who is you? Why is he saying, but I say? It's like, now he busted up in people's crib. Telling everybody, get out. That is some boldness right there. He says, this is music and it's crowd and it's a funeral. He says, get out, he told them. The girl isn't dead. She's only asleep. But the crowd laughed at him. Man, the crowd laughed at him. That is crazy. Now, this is a crowd, so it just wasn't just one person laughing in the corner. When he told him to get out, and he said, hey, listen, y'all upset. You got this funeral going on. You about to have a funeral for somebody that ain't dead. And they laughed at him. You know why? Because they was looking at what they saw. And I'm sure with all of them looking at her, she had to look like she was dead. And she had to actually probably be dead. And I think probably if you dig into the translation, he's saying she won't stay dead, I think, because likely she actually was dead. This is the miracle that Jesus is doing. But man, people was having a funeral. But when Jesus shows up, everything changes. Y'all know we preach this gospel because we believe it's true. We don't preach this gospel because it's been around for a long time. We don't preach this gospel based on some evidence or all this kind of stuff we've gathered together. There's a lot of evidence and you can gather it together. But when you've experienced Jesus Christ in a real way and he's transformed your life, you look at these scriptures differently. And you live a different way because you believe Jesus is real and he's true and he's alive. That's what changes your life. And so here he is, walking around in his authority. And he busted up in somebody's place and said, hey, listen, get out. She's not dead. She's only asleep. But they laughed at him. They didn't believe. And it's okay. You know, it's okay for people to not believe what you believe. Sometimes you just got to put them out. Sometimes you just got to distance yourself from them. He put them out. Look, after the crowd was put outside, Jesus went in. Hold on, let's stop right there. Jesus not only told them to get out. Did you see? I hope you didn't miss that part right there. It said Jesus went in. He told them to get out first. That means he was in. And then he went in. He went in twice. That means he went out. So he escorted them people out of there. But man, I wonder what that looked like. Man, everybody, too many people picture Jesus as this whole holy guy, just all meek and humble, and thither thou witherest, and whither thou goest. And man, please. Jesus is certainly the Lamb of God, but just understand he is also the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Lion enough to put folks out on the street. And then he goes back in. Play with it if you want to. Fool around and find out. They found out. This is, he went back in and took the girl by the hand, and she stood up. Man, that's some serious laying on of hands right here. He just grabbed her hand. There's another account, I think Mark's account, and I think John's account as well. They write the words that Jesus said to her. But this whole doctrine of the laying on of hands is something that is a part of our faith because of this right here, what you see. When we pray for people and they're going through something, we lay hands on them, and our faith gets activated with the faith of the person who is being laid hands on, and then God shows up and does a miracle when he wants to, when he chooses to. That's just how it is nowadays. You can have faith, and just sometimes God doesn't do the miracle. And it's okay, because you know what? God is still good. Amen and amen. Sometimes we don't know why. On this thing, I think God heals enough people. Nowadays, he does enough miracles to let us know that he still can do miracles. And I think he also doesn't do some miracles. I think he also doesn't do some miracles to let us know that we can't. Like, you can't pray hard enough to make God do something. You can't grab a hold of enough hands, right, and pour enough olive oil on somebody or have enough faith. Yes, faith is required for your healing, as we see here in the scriptures, but just understand that God is sovereign. And we just got to be willing to say sometimes God just chooses not to do it. I don't know why you lost your child. I don't know why you lost your mother. I don't know why. Yes, we prayed. Yes, I believe. Did you believe? Yes. I understand you being mad. But be wise. Be wise and just remember who God is in spite of what he does for you. Amen. I could go a whole lot further than that one, but I think I'm going to go on and move on. Took the girl by the hand and she stood up, and the report of this miracle swept through the entire countryside. Of course. Man, people talk about a good thing. And the better it is, the more people talk about it. They'll talk about a bad thing happening too. Absolutely. But when some real stuff jump off, like when it jump off, man, please. That thing will go viral. And here goes Jesus going viral in verse 27. And after Jesus left the girl's home, 2 blind men followed along behind him, shouting, "Son of David, have mercy on us." 2 blind men. Now, here's the cool part, y'all. What's the obvious part right here? The obvious part right here is 2 blind men obviously got some help, right? Because two blind men ain't following nothing other than their appetite. You got to have some help sometime, okay? Sometime, brother. In order to receive your blessing, you got to have some help. Somebody to show you the way. Unless, Lord, I pray for some of these young people, y'all. Some of these young people are just blind nowadays. They just don't know what they don't know. And they need help. And they just like these 2. Oof, gosh, boy, oh boy. Boy, I could go into that. I'm going to stop. I'm not going to do it. But here's 2 blind men followed along behind him, shouting, "Have mercy on us." Verse 28. They went right into the house where he was staying, and Jesus asked him, "Do you believe I can make you see?" Man, listen, if they didn't believe he could make them see, they just busting up in somebody's house for nothing. They just busting up in somebody's crib. He says they went, whoever was with them, they say, "Hey, y'all, get us in the crib, in the house." Well, that's what's the name. We don't, hey, none of that stuff matters. I need to get what I need to get. And he is the answer. Those are the kind of people that I want following me, man, as I follow Christ. I want people who are willing to do whatever it takes to get what they need. Just some folks that make it happen. No matter what kind of ailments they have, no matter what kind of limitations they have, man, these are just some people that say, "Hey, listen, I know what I need and I know where it's at. We gonna find a way to make it happen. Or we gonna get up in that house." Oh, what, in that house? In that house right there? We gonna get up in that house. Man, sometimes you got a problem in front of you, man. You can, and nowadays, especially with technology, man, it's available. You just got to be willing to do the research and do the work. Bust up in the house. I know a young man called me with a $2,500 bill on his vehicle. And I said, "Wow, have you looked on YouTube?" And he said, "Oh, I should be able to do that. I should have done that. I should have thought about that." And guess what? Went on YouTube, saw how to do it, had him some tools, went to the junkyard and got a piece and fixed that vehicle for a couple of zeros less than what the mechanic was going to charge him. Got it done, bro. Car running just fine now. And his wallet is a whole lot heavier still because of a heart that says, "I'm going to make this happen." We got two blind folks ready to bust up in the house, man. They saying, "Hey, listen, we need our healing and he is it. Watch out. Get us up there. Help me. Grab a hold." You know how you going up them stairs to the church and Mother Patterson having a little struggle and you walking by. You about to go in the church. You walking by and Mother Patterson say, "Give me a hand, baby." Hey, what you doing? You stopping. I don't care who you are. You helping Mother Patterson. Something about an old black woman up in the church, especially if she got that big hat on. Don't let her have that big hat on. You helping Mother Patterson. When Mother Patterson asks you to do something, you going to run up in there and grab her hand and help her. She don't mind asking for help. You know why? Because what she need is in the house. Boy, that'll preach. I'm going to be a preacher one day. Shoot. He asked him, "Do you believe I can make you see?" "Yes, Lord." They told him, "We do." Are y'all reading this with me? Oh, I'm getting a little happy, man. He's saying, yes, they told him, "We do." Man, you talking about the power of a team right there, bro. They speaking for themselves and speaking for each other all at the same time. Man, folks in the Zoom room, everybody in Cyber Sanctuary, man, sometimes you need a team. That's the beauty of family. Sometimes that's the beauty of family, just being able to have somebody around you that's supposed to be close to you, possibly going through the same thing that you're going through, got some of the same struggles that you have, and seeking the same thing that you're seeking. Then they saying, "Yep, we on one accord. We got the same mission, and we speaking for each other." That's faith, y'all. And I love this idea. These brothers is posseed up. Not only are people helping them get into the house, they busting up in somebody's house and they don't necessarily know the person, but they speaking together on one accord. It's powerful. Team. Verse 29. After he heard their response, then he touched their eyes and said, "Because of your faith, it will happen." Then their eyes were open and they could see. Man, because of your faith. Now, there's a lot here to study. and to dig into with these because of your faith scenarios. And I really encourage you to do that. Just give us some of the commentaries. Matthew Henry's concise commentary is a good one that you can study, and he gives you the history on this whole idea about faith being mixed with speaking the word and also God's power showing up. There's a dynamic there that's very important, and you'll grow in knowledge and strength if you study these things. I won't go into it today for the sake of the podcast, but Matthew Henry's commentary is a very good one to read. It's one of my favorites. But this is an obvious thing where Jesus is making this distinction, because some people he just laid hands on and they were healed. Some miracles were just at his command. And then now you see this thing showing up where he's saying, do you believe? Your faith, woman with the issue of blood for 12 years, your faith has made you whole. Blind folks busting up in the crib, all posseed up, speaking on one accord for each other and with each other. He's saying, because of your faith, it will happen. Verse 30, then their eyes were open and they could see. Jesus sternly warned them, hey, don't tell anybody about this. But instead, they went out and spread his fame all over the region. He said, hey, listen, hey, y'all keep this on the DL, all right, y'all. Psh. And what'd they do? They did exactly the opposite and went right out, man. Grapevine. Ooh, bet you're wondering how I knew. These blind folks, man, that would have, now they can see. Man, the only thing they can see is the grapevine. I don't really know what's behind that. I don't really know why he told them to not say anything. Don't tell anybody. But here's what I do know. I do know mankind. And I do know that Jesus knew their hearts. Is it right? This is Jesus knowing their thoughts. He said this. And Jesus knowing their intentions. He said that or did that, right? So it's possible a little reverse psychology going on. Man, that's how we are sometimes. I've been like that before. Man, I started playing football because somebody told me I couldn't, that I was too small. I was a scrub. Boy, I went, just like you, if you don't want me to do something, tell me I can do it. But if you tell me I can't do it, it's over. I started playing tennis. Man, just on some pride stuff. Somebody told me, now that I know I can beat you, we can play anytime. And from that moment on, and he did beat me that first time because he was a tennis player and I wasn't. I was just getting started. He had trophies, played in college and stuff. He said, oh yeah, we can play anytime. Now that I know I could beat you. Ooh, man. That was reverse psychology to me. I made up my mind that day right there. Watch my finger. I'm pointing to it. That day, yep, that day right there. That was the day I said I'm gonna beat him before heaven and earth pass away. I'm gonna beat him. And I did. Man, he says, don't tell nobody. And you know what they did? They told everybody. He says, but instead they went out and spread his fame all over the region. And just how we are, man. Joshua in the house. Joshua coming to hear the word of God. You coming to hear the word, Joshua?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go on to verse 32 then. When they left, a demon-possessed man who couldn't speak was brought to Jesus. Oh, my goodness. Are y'all seeing this? Folks are going through. Folks got problems, man. They got stuff going on. And it's possible that, you might be their answer. That's why this is Powerful Living Outreach Ministries. We show and teach and instruct and give you ways that you can actually go out and be the gospel to people because people are struggling. They need help. Demon-possessed man who couldn't speak was brought to Jesus. So Jesus cast out the demon. Just that simple. This is amazing. This is just simple. They brought a demon-possessed man to him. Jesus cast out the demon. Somebody had to have some faith in there, because why in the world you bringing a demon-possessed man to Jesus unless you believe he can help? And that's what's happening. This renown is being spread about him because he's doing incredible things that have never been done before. Power showing up from him to other people. Y'all, that's the best life. I'm telling you right now. We're sitting here talking about miraculous stuff, and Jesus healing this man possessed with a demon. This man's life has changed. But I'm telling you guys and gals, ladies, everybody in the cyber sanctuary, y'all better believe me when I tell you, your best life is right on the other side of you doing something powerful to help somebody who can never repay you. That's why we practice what we preach. That's why I show you how to meet your neighbor. That's where we go and do how-tos on how to deal with unloving people. How to take a few deep breaths before you go off on somebody. Just take a few deep breaths, man. How to be Christ to the world. How to help somebody. Man, you can change somebody's life just by buying them a bus card or a $200 Kroger card. Man, you could change somebody's life. I got folks in the cyber sanctuary giving money every month to somebody who live in a different country. That little few dollars you give for these American dollars, man, that'll transform their lives in that country. Man, people go out and sow and give to missionaries. Missionaries take that money overseas and they multiply it, showing up in somebody's life with power, y'all. This is powerful living is what we've been called to, not just powerful talking. Amen. So Jesus cast a demon out and the man began to speak. And the crowds were amazed. And they said, listen to this, nothing like this has ever happened in Israel, they exclaimed. So these people, a lot of them have needs that they hope to get fulfilled. But just understand, there's a whole lot of people as well that's just following. They just want to see something. They can't believe their eyes. Look at what they're saying. They're saying this kind of stuff has never happened before. They was talking about this dude is teaching in a way where like he's setting himself up as the authority. He's teaching with authority just unlike anything that we've ever heard before. And now, what is he doing? What just happened? That dude been demon-possessed on the street, chasing people and acting crazy and doing all kind of weird demonic stuff for all these years. And Jesus just comes up and heals the dude. Nothing like this has ever happened. Would be to God that people will say that about you. Some kind of ministry into their life where somebody be able to say, nobody's ever done this before. Not for me. Verse 34, the Pharisee said, he can cast out demons because he's empowered by the prince of demons. Really, bro? Really? See, this always got to be a naysayer. This is just who we are. You can't put something good that happened to you online, man. It's just always got to be a troll. We call them trolls. There's just always got to be a troll, a naysayer. Somebody always got to be, you doing something great, they got to find something less great about it. Folks just can't let you be great. You know what it is most of the time? Because they don't think they're great. Envy and jealousy is real. They got something to say about you doing well. It makes them feel better about themselves not doing so well. That's why you got to be careful about the people that you keep in your circle. And that's why it's best to, you don't tell everybody about the good stuff that you got going on in your life, because some people can't handle it without hating on it. Some people just can't handle it. And here they are. They're accusing Jesus of being in cahoots with the enemy. They're accusing this of being a stage play. They're not saying that he is getting the power to cast out a demon from Satan. Is deeper than that. That too, but it's deeper than that, what they're accusing him of. They're accusing this of being fake. Like, you are with the enemy. Whatever that dude is possessed with, you're possessed with the same thing, and your goal is to fool people, to gather crowds to you. You're doing all kind of lying wonders so you can gather this crowd, because they already putting this thing out saying he thinks he's the prince of the Jews, which is why they crucified him, for insurrection. And this is it. And here they are, just the haters among you. Every time you do great, there's always going to be haters following you, somebody following just to see what you're doing, just so they can trash talk it. Man, people don't know how to be happy for you sometime when you got good things going on. They're accusing him of being in cahoots with the demon that he just cast out. Man, this ain't real. That's fake. You was up there with your new purse and you ain't bothering nobody. You just got your new purse. Whatever big name, fancy name purse it is. You just got it there. You ain't bothering nobody. You said, you just bought yourself a new purse. It's something you've been saving up for a long time. You sit on the plate and, oh, that's so beautiful. Another one come, oh, hey, girl, I'm so glad you got that. I'm happy for you. Another one come and look at it from a distance. It's fake. You roll up in there with your new car, man, and God bless you, and you saved and worked on your credit score and just did this thing, and now you busting up in there with your new car, and a bunch of people congratulating you and genuinely happy for you, and there's somebody else is going to be repossessed in 3 months. They just hating. Haters gonna hate. It's like crazy, man. It's a rental. Like, so what though? Why you all up in my busy? So what if it is a rental? Man. But the Pharisee said he casts out demons because he's empowered by the prince of demons. Gosh. Verse 35. Jesus traveled through all the towns and villages of that area, teaching in the synagogues and announcing the good news about the kingdom. And he healed every kind of disease and illness. And when he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were confused and helpless, like sheep without a shepherd. He saw what people were going through. He saw what people were riddled with and affected by. Mental illness, drug addiction, demonic possession, poverty, homelessness. You see people standing on the street corner, man, and some of them bent over, standing up, sleep, tweaking out on meth and fentanyl. People are hurting all over the place. Tons of opportunity for us to be Jesus to the world because people are just hurting, y'all. And Jesus had compassion on them, and I hope we can do the same. And he said to his disciples, the harvest is great, but the workers are few. So pray to the Lord who is in charge of the harvest and ask him to send more workers into his fields. Boom. You've heard Jesus in prior verses where he gave us the Lord's Prayer and says, when you pray, pray like this. This is an outline, this is a format. And he didn't say you had to pray that prayer. He says, here's an example. Now, he's giving you the exact thing to pray for. He's saying, pray that the Lord of the harvest, God the Father, Jehovah God, pray that he'll send forth laborers into the harvest. He says, the harvest is great. There's tons of opportunity for healing, for restoration, for fellowship, for people's needs being met, feeding the hungry, being a friend to someone. Tons of opportunity for that. But Jesus is declaring that just the people who have the desire to go out and do it, that's what's lacking. And so he's saying for you, he's saying, hey, listen, pray more and more for more laborers. We need more people on the team, y'all. That's what you pray for. And so when you, and I know you will, because we've been talking about this more and more, just the power of prayer. Getting up in the morning, just before you get out of bed, just take a few minutes there and start thinking about God. Just take a few minutes before you jump into your routine and think about God and the kingdom. And then Jesus is saying, hey, right here, here's something else for you to do. Pray that God will send people into the harvest. There's folks out there hurting, demon-possessed, blind, dead, spiritually dead, physically dead, homeless, right? Poor. Some of these young folks have no mentors. You know, some of these folks out here, man, they just, I told you about the 74%, right? 74% of blacks in this country since 1973 are raised with single parent households, according to the United States Census. And 90% of that 74%, single moms. You want to ask me about my testimony? What it's like being raised by a single mom? Go find 10 people. You go find 10 black people, 7 of them was raised by a single mom. It wasn't meant to be that way. It took 2 people to conceive. Yeah. And so it should take 2 people to raise that child, and give that child everything that child needs. And nowadays, man, you almost, I get it, I understand, you almost need 2 incomes in order to have anything decent nowadays. But he's saying, hey, listen, people got stuff going on because of the society, the fall of mankind, right? The increase of sin and selfishness. And Jesus is saying, when you pray, pray for laborers to go into the harvest. Because people are hurting, y'all. And I pray it'll be you that chooses to go forth into the harvest. Everybody in the cyber sanctuary, I pray it'll be you that go forth into the harvest in some kind of way to some kind of person who has some kind of need. So let me show you what it looks like, because I told you I was going to share a testimony today. I got a testimony, and congratulations. He got the job. He got the job. All of those times of sitting with this young brother that I've been mentoring for a few months now, man, all those times where I went and picked him up on my own time, sent him a ride on my own dime. If I couldn't go pick him up to his doctor's appointment, his wife is pregnant, man, they need to get to the doctors. Many times I just go and pick him up myself because I'm out there driving anyway. Or sometimes I couldn't get to him. But these brothers need help. He has no man. It's like he's 17 years old. His mama died. Father was never there. Had a good mama, actually left him a lot of stuff. At 17, I guess by the time he turned 18, I guess he was able to get this. But 18, he had a house. He had a car. He had stuff going on because of what his mama left him. And then, you know what happened next? Here came the vultures. Family. Swooped down on what he had left from his mama, took advantage of a 17-year-old boy and left him with nothing. everything shortly after. To the point where he was homeless, sleeping up under a bridge. And you wonder why some of these folks, young folks, are angry and run to gangs? It's possible because they got nothing. They got nothing else. But he got the job. Starts work on the 30th. And you just love it to see when all of your labor comes to fruition. And you see somebody's life transformed in a powerful way because of your help in their life. Well, to God be the glory. It wasn't you, it was God. Oh, stop that. Go ahead. I can't stand it, to God be the glory, police. I can't stand them people. You got somebody in your life saying, doing that, man. Listen, those are some of the people that you want to put out the house too. Well, to God be the glory. It's the power of God. He said, pray to the Lord to send laborers. He didn't say pray to God to send more power. He said send more laborers. That's people. It's you. Yes, it's God working through you. But you know, if you are not willing, God can't do it. He's doing it through you. And so you get to be the person who check up on some folks that got no parenting behind them and no mentor. You get to be the person who send them rides and go pick them up. You get to be the person who show them how to do this. And I'm telling you, it's tough. It's hard, but these people need mentors. I sat right across from this brother just going off. He had a little fit of anger and started going off on his wife. I said, hold on, dog. Hold on, bro. You don't get to talk to her like that. Not in front of me. Nah. This is what's happening here. This is why she feels that way. You can't be saying that to her. Is that not a child in her womb? Is that not your seed? You know how easy you can have a miscarriage and you stressing her out on that? Nah, bro, come on, man. You got to do better than that. And here's how you do it. You do this and you do it. What you mad about is not really like what you actually mad about. This happened and it happened, but that ain't really, you see, reason and imparting wisdom into people's lives. That takes time. That's just as much of a miracle as casting out a demon for somebody. Sitting in somebody's house and sharing the things you've learned in your life. That's a miracle for these people. Because they don't have anybody. And in this scenario, y'all, I told you, I want everybody to be practicing what we preach. This is not something that most people, especially, you got the people who are the naysayers, always talking about preachers are hypocrites. Well, here's one that I'm showing you. I'm practicing what I preach. Now, you spend all that time talking about people being hypocritical. Share this one. Share some good news the way you share bad news. The brother got the job. After all my labor in his life, he got the job. And he probably going to need a ride to work. Or maybe his wife going to need a ride or whatever. They'll still need a car. They're still trying to find a place to live. And guess what? It might be me that God puts into their harvest field to help them get it. It might be you. Mm-hmm. Are you willing? Because it is hard. And it might take some of your money, or it might take some of your time. But are you willing? Or are you willing to just at least pray that God sends people into the harvest? You feel like you got no time to pray? You're wrong. You feel like you don't know how to pray long enough? You're wrong. Here it is. Pray that God will send more people into the harvest. And listen, if you don't know how to be intentional about grabbing a hold of people and mentoring people, if you don't know how to meet your neighbor, if you don't know how to, and I had a lady, I challenged her to this too. And she said, hey, listen, I live here, man. I live in this high middle class area. I ain't around no poor folks. Listen, that's your case. Listen, you are the person we need because you have resources. Contact me. I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you how to connect with people who have needs. He says the harvest is plenteous, but we need laborers, bro. It's the laborers. Labor finders is where we are. We're looking for people to go into the harvest. And you're never going to have a great day, a great night's sleep until you can go to sleep resting your heart, knowing that you helped somebody who can never repay you. Knowing that through all this time and investment you made in somebody's life, they got the job. I'm excited for him. And I don't know how long the relationship going to last. And, I'd love for him to be a member of this church, but that ain't what I'm doing it for. I'm doing it because he needs help. And this is what God's called us to do. And just like it begins with me, folks, it begins with you. And so if you don't know how to create these opportunities to meet those who have needs like this, call me. 513-404-7793. Send me a text. I will respond. Some of you give to charities, and that's great. You know that your seeds are going into the harvest. And you hope that those seeds will grow up into a tremendous benefit for somebody else. Send your seeds this way. I ain't ashamed. That's right. I told you about one young lady that my son and I went and helped move. Listen, we couldn't have helped her move without someone else sowing a seed. Almost $1,000 they got together to help her pay her deposit and first month rent. We changed her life, y'all. She couldn't have moved by herself, and she didn't have the money. She had the money to sustain the rent, but y'all know how much folks charge, man. First month rent, deposit, and this month, and the electricity want that deposit. Man, it costs you a grip to be able to move. And you wonder why people down and out and lose their mental health and go crazy and take drugs and stuff? Because sometimes they just stuck. They just need help to get out of the hole. And you can be it, even if it's just nothing but writing a check. Trust me, every joint supplies. Not everybody's on the front line. We need somebody replenishing the ammo. We need somebody putting up the bathrooms and the tents and stuff back there in the hospital, keeping the hospital clean. We need somebody doing the work in the background so when the people come off the front line, they got somebody to take care of them, fix them up, and get them ready to go back out again. Every joint supplies. But we need laborers, y'all. And it could be you. And it is me. I need my team to grow. That's why I'm asking you to share this channel. Share this ministry with somebody. We need the team to grow because people are hurting, y'all. And so when you pray about how you want to reach out and support this ministry. You pray about how you can be Christ to someone else. And when you pray, also pray for the harvest. Pray that the Lord will send laborers into his harvest. Henry Flowers, Powerful Living Outreach Ministries. I ain't going nowhere. I'm coming back.